Okay, so we're going to look at making a prototype site in Hype, which is essentially a low-res version of the final thing you're going to make so that we can work out the structure and flow and think about design without content to begin. And we're also going to look at how we might use grids and guides to help with our design and placement of content. So the goal here is just to make something very simple that allows us to explore how everything will sit together and to test our site with some sample audience members or users so that we can get feedback on what it is we're making. And so here we have a kind of landing page or splash screen, if you like, which we then enter, which leads to a second page that will be our hub, which will have our kind of main navigational elements, so a way to sort of go to content. And so you'll see we've got a intro text, some headings, and then these grey tiles might ordinarily be images, but because we're doing the prototype, we've just got some placeholder grey squares in the site just to help us with the sort of layout. And then what we're envisaging is that these tiles would be clickable, and as you click through, you get to the main content for each of the sections. So this will be the main information screen for that particular heading. And so that's quite simple. But you'll notice that there's no color, there's no real design features. We're just dealing with the layout and how we might navigate through. Okay, so just looking in Hype here and thinking about the thing that we're making, you'll notice that we're using a lot of things that we've used already and looked at. So we've been animating content over time here, and we're using grouped folders just to keep things together and allow us to animate groups together. So put either transparency or opacity on a group. And so here you see I've got a begin button and then splash screen content. We've got some animation linked to that. And then that goes through to the second page, which will be our tiled content area. And here you can see the same sorts of things apply. So I'm using, in this case, a movie clip, just to sort of, that has all the content in it. And then you'll notice within that I've got these grouped elements. So the top line is this top line of tiles that fly in 1920, 1930. And then the bottom line group here is this bottom line. Now what I've done here is I've just made one tile and animated the movement, and then I've reused that 5 times to make the 6 flows. So one of the good things that you can do in Hype, well in lots of software really, is just to kind of make once and use again, which is kind of the principle of the movie clip, but it also happens with groups and things that we do on the stage ordinarily. So in this case, if I just show you the example here, how this was made, zoom out a bit. So it's made a rectangle, which will be my placeholder tile, like so. Just make that bit square. And then put in a text element, which is the date, obviously. Go to the text part here. Just make that slightly bigger. Put that on the top. Okay, so that's a bit small, but this is just an example. So, and then using the layer, so shift clicking the layer and then grouping those together gives me this group. Okay, and then to animate, just start at this place you want to, go to record as we've been doing, and then sort of move the position over time, and I'm just holding shift here to get a straight line. Okay, so we've got one instance of that thing moving. Now, to save me doing that again, obviously, I can just take this whole group here plus the animation and I can copy and paste it and reuse it. So ordinarily if I Command C and Command V, I would just copy and paste the element. But Hype also handily allows me to, if you go into the edit menu here, you'll see edit, paste with animation. And so that will paste with all the timeline information for that particular element as well. So the shortcut for this is Command, Option, and V. So if I just do that on the keyboard, you'll see I have two elements now and two animations joined to it. Okay. And then all I need to do is a case of just space things out so that I've got them ending where I want them to. So the second one, it's there. You get the gist. So that's how that sort of tiled sequence here is made. Okay. And so you can see there's just layer groups with the tiles and the dates in, which have just been changed for each new one. And then copy and paste the animation, and then you get this kind of staggered effect, which is really handy. So that's how we can sort of just group and reuse animation. So next we'll just look at how we would use the grid to do a layout, and then fine-tune some of the tweens that you see in the prototype.